What is up, YouTube? I'm Got874 here, bringing you guys week 3 of the APM. This week we are taking on PokeFan, coach of the Detroit Oblivion Wings. We are going into this game with an 0-2 record, while my opponent is going into this game with a 1-1 record. Now, before I get into anything, this video is going to be late. It's either going up on Monday or Tuesday. It's late because we did the battle on Saturday night, and I didn't want to rush the video, especially because the Super Bowl was on Sunday, so I was watching that, and I didn't have a good chance to record. So, apologies for that. To recap the first 2 weeks of APM, basically we got our asses handed to us both weeks. We are off to the worst start I think I've ever had to a season, worse than IBA season of 5, and that was really bad. So hopefully we can try and bounce back this week. This league is really packed, so we do need to squeeze in wins when we can, and that's just really important to continue on into the season. Ironically, we face off against PokeFan, who is in our division, so this game is even bigger than normal because we need to beat out PokeFan throughout the rest of the season as well, so we need to win this game basically. There's still no changes to the team. I said I was going to make some. I still haven't. I don't know what I'm going to do with the team yet, but I do want to make a change at some point. But just to let you know, the team is still the same. And with all that out of the way, and I have to record this pretty quickly, I have to go somewhere soon, we're going to head into the matchup. So, my opponent, PokeFan, this week has a team consisting of Mew, Excadrill, Barraskewda, Grimmsnarl, Breloom, Chandelure, Dragalge, Araquanid, Gigalith, Kamala, Spiritomb, and Pachirisu that can Dynamax. I would expect him to consist of Mew, Grimmsnarl, Breloom, Chandelure, Dragalge, and Araquanid. I'm pretty set on these 6. Nothing else on his team really does too good against me, except for these 6 alone. Maybe Barraskewda could come, but that's basically it. And his new mons are the Barraskewda and the Grimmsnarl. 2 of his biggest threats on his team are the Mew and the Dragalge. Dragalge is stupid hard to switch into. A modest Choice Specs Draco, I think, does 80% of Magnezone, and that's just insane. That's max HP Magnezone. That thing is insanely hard to switch into. Granted, I can offensively deal with it rather easily. It's just, again, switching into it, it's just borderline impossible. Mew is annoying because Mew can do anything in the entire world. I don't know. I expect Mew to come 100%, but I don't know what type of set he's going to bring. He could bring like a setup variant. He could bring a just, hazard stacking variant. I don't know what he's going to bring. I'm sort of expecting hazards, but anything could come. And that's just really annoying facing off against something like that. And then Chandelure gets a special mention as well. I do have a decent switch in this game. The fact that my first opponent had a Noivern, my second opponent had a Crobat, and my third opponent has a Chandelure now, all I have Infiltrator. It's very annoying to try and set up substitutes because I do like to play with substitute on some mons rather than others. Like Serperior, for example, I like to run sub on that a lot. Blacephalon, I'm going to run sub at some point, and it's really hard to do that with Infiltrator mons running around. Even though I just said that, I am going to be bringing Serperior this week. The combination of Serperior and Gliscor offensively is really good against my opponent, and I'm going to try to use that to my advantage in this game because the 2 things that Serp can't break, in Chandelure and Dragalge, Gliscor deals with pretty handily. And that's basically going to wrap it up. And for my opponent's team, again, these are really the 6 I expect to bring. I don't expect him to really throw anything else on the team. But the team I am rocking out with this week is the Gliscor, Milotic, Serperior, Heracross, Porygon 2, and the Magnezone. First up, we have Gliscor. Gliscor is holding the Toxic Orb as always, enough speed to outspeed max speed Excadrill with the moves Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Aerial Ace, and Roost. Dual Stab was just stupid good in this game because Earthquake, his team's very Earthquake weak, and he's got like Breloom and Araquanid that resist the ground moves, but Aerial Ace sitting right there, and since it's Stab, it's going to be doing a lot to the Araquanid, and it just blows back the Breloom. He doesn't have a crazy amount that comfortably switches into this. The Grimmsnarl probably takes 1 hit, maybe 2. Mew is probably the best switch in if it's a bulky Mew, so I could see that being a thing. But outside of that, then the combination, again, Earthquake and Aerial Ace is just really good against my opponent. I didn't really feel like I needed the bulk because there's only so many things Gliscor was switching into. It switches into stuff like the Excadrill and the Breloom as well. But even with like minimal investment in my bulk, Excadrill still really isn't touching me too hard unless it's banded, and I don't really expect a banded Excadrill to be coming this game. And then again, everything else this is more of an offensive mon this week than a defensive mon. More an offensive pivot is the best way to put it without U-turn, if that makes any sense. And I just threw rocks because the chip was very nice. His team does not have great rapid spinners or defoggers respectively outside of the Drill and Mew and Kamala, but Gliscor really handles 2 of those right there. So that's basically a quick rundown of Gliscor. Next up we have Milotic. Milotic is max HP, max defense, with the Rocky Helmet, moves being Scald, Toxic Haze, and Recover. I didn't need the Flame Orb. I didn't need the extra defense boost this week because this thing wasn't incredibly important, but it was important to the fact that in case he brought something like Barraskewda, I had an answer to it because my other walls don't deal with Barraskewda well, so my Melodic had to come in and be a switch into that. And as well as Grimmsnarl, if it's like an offensive Grimmsnarl, my Melodic can deal with it fine. Set up Mew, I beat with Haze. I just can't let Mew set up. I don't need to beat it 1v1. And just Rocky Helmet for stuff like maybe the Choice Ironhead Excadrill I was talking about. Araquanid's Liquidations, that Rocky Helmet chip is really nice, and then Kamala if it decides to come. I can switch into Chandelure as well, even though I'm more physically defensive, as long as it's not Specs. But if Chandelure comes, it's going to be Scarf, because it wants to beat the Serperior. And yeah, that's basically a little quick rundown of Milotic. I can't really touch Dragalge, which I'm a little bit worried about, because again, that thing is a big problem. And if Dragalge comes in on my Milotic, it's going to be a serious, not a fun time. Third up, and second part of the double snake core, we have Serperior. Serperior is one half of the Wincon outside of Gliscor, holding the Akaberry with a whole bunch of EVs. Moves being Sub, Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, and HP Ground. With the Akaberry, I'm guaranteed to live a Fire Blast from a Scarfed Chandelure. I think that's the roll. And Serperior just kind of runs through my opponent's team because it outspeeds everything except for Barraskewda. And Barraskewda isn't hitting insanely hard unless it's Life Orb or the Choice Band. And if I'm behind a sub, then I just live the hit and I just kill it that way. Leaf Storm I can set up on a lot of things like Excadrill, Mew, Grimmsnarl, even the Breloom, because Breloom isn't touching me that hard. And then I can break through it with like Dragon Pulse and stuff. And just the Dragalge and Chandelure. Luckily, Chandelure does not like rocks. Dragalge gets worn down, and I have Dragon Pulse still. And again, the Akaberry is there for like HP ground. If I get rocks damage and then I'm at +2, I kill it that way. So Serperior is looking really good overall in that matchup. I just have to be careful of Chandelure and Dragalge. Moving into our fourth mon, we have Heracross. Heracross is holding the Flame Orb with the Guts ability, enough speed to outspeed non-Scarf Chandelure with the Mega Horn, Close Combat, Earthquake, and Protect. Knockoff could have been nice, but I really wanted the Flame Orb just in case he wanted to like Spore Spam with his Breloom, so I didn't have to like worry about switching in on a like Spore for my Heracross so the Flame Orb wouldn't activate, so that's why I did it this way. And I really only needed these 3 coverage moves in the end. Knockoff would have been a nice utility. His team really does not appreciate fighting plus ground coverage. Almost everything is hit super effectively by that. And then Mega Horn blows past everything else. Like Araquanid, for an example, like basically gets OHKO'd by a Mega Horn with just a little bit of chip. That same goes for the what else was it? Something else also got destroyed by Mega Horn. Oh, Spiritomb, I think. Yeah, Spiritomb got blown away by Mega Horn, but not Close Combat and Earthquake. And just the Speed 2 was really, really nice because his team is relatively on the slower side. And Mew could be annoying, and Mew obviously doesn't want to switch into a bug move. And then the only other thing faster that's relevant is the Excadrill. And Excadrill also doesn't really want to switch into this thing. And Barraskewda, but you see they all don't want to switch in. And everything lower, then I can just spam buttons and claim kills. This is just meant to break. Hopefully a lot better than last week, because God, I played Heracross awful against Haunch. I played it so bad. But hopefully this week I can play it a little bit better, because I know how good this thing can be. Fifth up, we have Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is holding the Eviolite. This is my Spidef wall of the week. I wanted Trace, but I have to have Analytic, because if I wanted to run Psywave, which I do want to run, I have to be Analytic. So that's how it is. Psywave, Toxic, Teleport, Recover. Recover just for, to recover. Toxic, just to throw around. And Psywave is just so I can get guaranteed chip damage off. I don't want to be running, like, Shadow Ball, and then my opponent bring Calm Mind to Mew, and apparently I can't break through that. At least I can get some consistent damage with Psywave. I say that lightly because Psywave is not really the most consistent move in the entire world, but hey. And that's all I really needed. This is here just to switch into the Chandelure, and I guess the Dragalge if Chandelure is gone, and the Mew too. It's more of a pivot because I can teleport out and then bring in something offensive like Gliscor or Serperior or Heracross, and I can take advantage of it that way. But again, I just needed some Spidef wall on this team, and P2 is just the best for the job because it sort of deals with both Chandelure and Dragalge. At least it deals with Chandelure. Dragalge, just nothing switches into that. And then finally, we have Magnezone. This is a very interesting set. It is also analytic. With the Ashoka Berry, with Magnet Rise, a T-Bolt, a Flash Cannon, and a Hidden Power Ground. This was a very interesting set. This investment guarantees I live a Jolly Earthquake from an Excadrill. I obviously don't want to take it, but if I have to, I can. I have Magnet Rise if I want to predict instead. Don't have to deal with that. Sugar Berry is more actually for, if anything, the Drill Run on the Barraskewda, because that could be a thing, and I just completely obliterate it back with Thunderbolt. This thing is really... I didn't run the Magnet Pool because I felt like Analytic was going to be better overall, and 9 times out of 10, unless I do make the Magnet Rise play, I'm not staying in on Excadrill, so I felt like the extra damage was going to be very nice. And with this 16, a little bit of investment into attack and the analytic boost, it's a lot more 2 Kos than 3 Kos, and that's why I decided to do that. And yeah, it's just here just to be really annoying for his team, because Electric Steel is just stupid good defensively, while I can maintain some offensive momentum with this thing. And yeah, that is going to be the Magnezone. It's also another switch into Dragalge, even though it's a quote switch in. And that is going to basically wrap it up for this team builder. We're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to watch the battle. Alright, we are here on Pokemon Showdown, and my opponent did not bring the Chandelure, and that blew my mind. Serperior looks absolutely fantastic here late game. I just have to weaken out that Dragalge a bit, because I'm assuming that thing is going to be a bit of a problem. In regards to lead, Heracross can break everything. If he leads Mew, that's going to suck a bit, but outside of that, I basically just click a button. He does lead off with the Dragalge, which is a good lead, because that hits me hard. I'm going to protect just to scout out what he's going to do. He could have set up a T-Spike, but he just drops a Draco, trying to get damage off early, like I am. And now I get to just claim, I just click Earthquake, as he's actually the Shuka Berry, so he is going to live because of that. That's fine, because he's Shuka, he won't kill me with the Draco. And that's just great, because he let me get crucial damage on the Dragalge 2 turns into the battle. He switches out into Breloom. I almost clicked Close Combat this turn, but I thought if I can get the kill on Dragalge, that'd be really nice. But I do still get some solid chip on this Breloom, and he actually tells me that this thing is Scarf because he clicked Bullet Seed. And I was expecting Mach Punch, to be completely honest. I was going to die there anyway, but he clicked Bullet Seed, and because he's locked into that, I can go out into Magnezone. This could have been a setup opportunity for Serperior. Looking back, maybe I should have done that because Serperior looks really good. But I maybe some chip on Arachnid, and maybe if he was like Sash Drill would have been great. So I felt like it was a little bit too early in the battle. But anyway, he clicks Earthquake on his with his Excadrill. I just sent him my Gliscor, which is a free switch in, and now I can just throw out my rocks because his spinner loses to my Gliscor. So I'm not really too worried about that, and if he has Defog on Mew, I can learn that information. He does predict my switch out as he goes for Toxic on the Milotic, and that sucks, but it's kind of whatever. Expecting him to throw up webs, I'm just going to throw a Toxic up back. I say that because Serperior is already faster than basically everything, so just giving it a speed boost doesn't really make a difference in this case. As he goes on to Dragalge, I do not like this matchup whatsoever. I was fearing this in the team builder. As I go out on the P2, luckily since Chandelure's here, P2 is not doing too much. He just throws up a T-Spike. That actually really sucks because Serperior now is looking not as good because I do not have any Cleric on my team or a way to get rid of this T-Spike. So I do have to sort of adjust my game plan a bit. I was going to teleport hard out into Serp, and I'm starting to realize since this thing is Toxic, I'm assuming it has Roost, and its last move is going to be either Psychic, Ice Beam, or Earthquake, and I want to figure that out ASAP. If it's Earthquake, then Serperior can break through this thing really easily, and that's sort of what I want to use Serperior for at this point, is just to break through this Mew. Because Mew is really the only problem on my opponent's side at this point. As I just fire off a Leaf Storm, I get some nice damage off there and get my boost, of course, and he shows his last move is Psychic. So I know for the late game that Magnezone beats the Mew. In fact, late game, Magnezone beats everything except for Excadrill, really. And I guess Breloom if it's locked into a fighting move. But if Breloom's locked into the Bullet Seed, then Magnezone just 6-0s the team. But I do get damage off on Mew, but he does switch out into the Dragalge and does sack it to my hidden power this turn. That's fine, I get to knock it out, and Serperior is still low, and I'm assuming Breloom's going to come in and clean me up, as that's what's going to happen. Breloom is just going to click a button. He clicked Bullet Seed, so that's fine. It does force out my Magnezone, but that's not really a big deal because I'm weakening down that Excadrill. So that's my thought process here. I'm just going to click Flash Cannon again as he goes down to Grimmsnarl. And I'm not sure completely why he did this. He asked if he actually frisked me. Yes, he's not Prankster, but he just straight up dies. Yeah, he just lost his Grimmsnarl there. Maybe he was fearing I predict the Excadrill, which would have been a likely play on my part, but I just felt like some Flash Cannon chips still would have been nice. Gliscor is always a free switch into this thing as he clicks the HP Ice. He has HP Ice on this Excadrill. That is some wild tech. But thankfully for me, I put enough speed to outspeed max speed Drill, and that's going to come in very handy as now I can take this HP Ice much more comfortably, and I can get up to almost full health as I can just fire off an Earthquake now. His Earthquake switch in is Arachnid or the Breloom, but I have Aerial Ace for both of those, as I just fire off an Earthquake, and this damage shows that he's actually pretty bulky Arachnid, and I know how good Gliscor is in this late game, so I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to switch out into my P2 and sack it. It's not really doing too much in this game at this point, as he just fires off Liquidation. This Arachnid's not really that big of a deal. I need to get this thing a little bit lower. Aerial Ace does like half roughly, but I want to be a little bit under half just to be safe about it if he's like max for whatever reason. So I'm just going to be spamming Sidewave here. I need a little bit of a higher roll, which is because that did nothing. Luckily, I think, the highest roll I possibly could have gotten there. And that sucks for my opponent just because he cannot switch in back on rocks. So getting like more kind of a lower roll in Sidewave to the ultimate high roll kind of sucks. I'm going to Gliscor. He's definitely in range of Aerial Ace, and I'm going to knock this thing out. So it is 3-3. We're looking pretty good because Gliscor beats the Breloom and the Drill. It's just this Mew left. But since Mew took the Leaf Storm damage earlier, it's going to be forced to Roost here. Because if I click Earthquake twice and he doesn't Roost, he dies basically. So I go into Magnezone knowing this thing is going to beat it 1v1. I'm going to speed this process up a little bit. I do crit the Mew here. That kind of sucks as he just roosts up. And you're going to see here I crit the Mew again. I apologize to PokeFan. You're going to see here after this damage that I'm doing around 47-ish%. And the rolls you're going to see for these next few turns are like 41 to like 48. So he is gaining a little bit. But you have to think, Roost has 16 PP. I have Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt, which does around the same amount of damage. So I'm going to be able to win this war in the end. I don't think he's going to be able to get enough Psychics off to the point where I can't lose this 1v1. I click Flash Cannon a lot just because I don't want Drill coming in for free. As you're going to see here, he finally bites the bullet and gives me the Mew. And I am down to 44%, but I do knock out the Mew here with the crit. That one didn't matter. As he can just bring out Drill. I decide I'm not going to sack this just in case that Breloom wants to late game lock into Bullet Seed. I should live any Bullet Seed unless he gets 5 hits, I think. And that's my, I'm going to sack the Drill here. I mean, sack the Milotic to get a free switch into my Gliscor, because I want my Gliscor as healthy as possible to take on the Breloom. So Milotic's going to go down, and now I can get Gliscor in for absolutely free. Click Earthquake because I'm faster than this thing. Knock out the Drill. And basically, if he gets 5 hits and like 3 crits, I think he knocks out my Gliscor, but then he has to get another crit on Magnezone. So it's very unlikely. As my opponent actually is also picking up the HP Ice on this too. It doesn't knock me out because it's a physical attacker. And I knock out the Breloom, and we are going to actually win a game of APM. That's shocking, isn't it? We're going to win 2-0, but GG to my opponent, PokeFan. It is really nice to finally have a game where I can dictate the pace of the match while maintaining momentum, because recently I haven't been able to keep 2 of those together in the single battles, so it's nice to have. Outside the 2 crits, I think this was a very even battle overall. The 2 crits suck, but realistically, the only difference would have been is that Mew probably would have been able to hit me with an extra Psychic, but I don't think that still puts me in range of 3-hit Bullet Seed from Breloom, so I'm not sure how big of a deal it really was at that point, but nonetheless, it sucks. Overall, still an even game though. GG to a PokeFan once again. We are going to move up to a 1-2 record, and fun fact, everybody in my division is 1-2, all 4 of us. Our division's not the strongest in the entire world. We're still pretty good battlers. We were all just kind of off to rough starts. I'm the worst because I have worse differential. But anyway, we're going to move on to next week. Next week we face off against Gel Bell. Gel Bell, I might be saying that wrong. He is 3-0. And he is in the other division in our conference. Hopefully we can end his win streak. And that's going to be next week's video. I don't know who he has on his team because I really haven't looked at it yet. But that'll be next week. Thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.